Today we're looking to study or to go through a story of what is very known, yeah? Feeding 5,000 people, which is not only in John, you can find in Mark, Luke, Matthew, you can find this one. In one evangelism was a different miracle probably because the number is differently. But today I would like to concentrate to this story about Jesus feeding 5,000 of people. And this is not a story, children's story, where sometimes we use in fiction. This is a real story which was happening in time when Jesus was on earth. And and with the and the read- and the story is from chapter 6, is from verse 1 to verse 13, or even 14, yeah. And I would like somebody to read me first 5 verses, yeah. Somebody who have a Bible, to read the very first 5 verses. Yeah, whoever is it.
Do you want
1 to
someone
5.
to read from John chapter 6, verses 1 to 5?
Yes, please. Yeah.
After these things, Jesus went over the Sea of Galilee, which is the Sea of Tiberias. And a great multitude followed him, because they saw his miracles, which he did on them that were diseased. And Jesus went up into the mountain, and there he sat with his disciples. And the Passover, a feast of the Jews, was nigh. When Jesus then lifted up his eyes and saw a great company come unto him, he said unto Philip, Whence shall we buy bread that these may eat?
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's not the first time when people are following Jesus, yeah? But in this episode, we see a great multitude. And the Bible is referring about 5,000 of men. Men is because in the past, they didn't count it everyone. It was counted by the head of the family, which was the man. And if we're trying to add the woman and children, we having a minimum 10,000 to 30,000 of people being over there. And we said about feeding 5,000 people because it was counting only men capacity. What do you think they was trying to follow Jesus? What was the main reason? If they knew it would be a fellowship lunch after that? Huh? If they knew it? Yes. Yeah. They had a need. Yeah, they had a issue. Okay, but Jesus, what he did in that time, as the Bible said. He healed, yeah, and he was preaching. It's interesting because sometimes we have different people speaking here, and if it's passing 1 o'clock, you will see people starting looking about clock, about that one. Imagine to be all day and somebody speaking to you the whole program. How you'll feel it. Today's Sabbath school, I don't know how it was going over and looks like they didn't want to finish. Either was a good lesson or either was a good teacher. Today, I don't know, but sometimes you're looking, even the teachers looking, oh, we're going to Sabbath school, I need to finish. Oh, it's another 10 minutes. Trying to fill it up, the time. But you can find out in people's eyes, sometimes when somebody's preaching and it's passing more than half an hour, how people could stay a day till the night and didn't want to go home. What was the reason? What do you think? I said to you, did they knew from the very beginning, did they knew it would be a fellowship lunch? Because no one didn't eat anything. They didn't bring any food with them.
That change in their heart, the soul that we have the words of life, the stirring in their hearts to him, and therefore their needs of food, water, just it didn't arise for them until much later. Because in that time, they were just completely captivated by the words that he had brought to them from heaven.
Yeah, yeah. Any other thoughts?
He was perhaps an inspirational speaker,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't just the fact that he was an inspirational speaker, but he had also seen in his actions in practice. They've seen the healing, the preaching, and the teaching.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't just talking; they saw the balance of practice and theory.
Yes, yes. All right, thank you so much. When I was a long time into Romanian community, we had a good speaker, which probably Romanian community knows, Mr. Butoy. And every time when he came to preach, he didn't preach for 1 hour, he was preaching nearly 2 hours. And you see people staying quietly into the into a church, and when it's finished, everyone said, "Oh, it's finished," like they wanted something more. And if they had an afternoon, everyone was crowding and coming to listen to him. It's a gift of God to you could attract with people, and when you're speaking, they can be attentively and catching out the things. But Jesus came not with his own thoughts, he came with the word of God, word of life. Imagine, I don't want to judge anyone, but some of us are prepared, some of them are not prepared, some of them copying sermons from somebody else and bring it here. Not all of the sermons, I want to say, are inspired by God. And probably somebody will say to me, "Who are you to say to that?" Because the sermon who are inspired by God needs to speak to the hearts of a congregation. And Jesus had that word of God. If he didn't have it, people would just get bored and go back home. Yeah. Same thing when you watch. If you watch a movie as well, if you don't like it, you fell asleep, or you switch it and you changing something else. Yeah, because you don't feel attracted by what you watch, and or other programs, whatever you want it, because you don't feel the passion of that one. But Jesus had that, not skill. I want to say to you, yeah, he was skilled as well, but he had this wonderful message to people, and as well, it was kind of new for them. And when you're reading what Jesus has said, he always was quoting from the Old Testament. Yeah, love your neighbors. It was from the Old Testament. Love your God. It was from Old Testament quoted. Yeah. And he just simplifies and put it in practice and showing people and even healing and all of that thing. But from very beginning, these people wasn't come for fish and bread, because no one even knew about that, because Jesus didn't done this kind of miracles before. Okay, I want somebody else to read it from verse 6 to verse 9. Yeah, somebody else to read it from verse 6 to verse 9.
And this he said to prove him for he himself knew what he would do. Philip answered him, 200 penny worth of bread is not sufficient for them, that every one of them may take a little. One of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter, brother, said unto him, There is a lad here, which had 5 barley loaves and 2 small fishes, but what are they among so many?
Amen. Thank you so much, Sister Jennifer. And now we go into kind of details. Yeah, Jesus from on verse 5 was a little bit kind of worried and asking, let's do something with these people. We see Philip starting counting how much money we have, trying to do some maths and see, oh, we cannot buy enough. And another thing was, there was in desert to go and buy something. It was miles away and coming back. It was hard to do that thing. It was impossible, kind of, and with that amount of money. And what Alec has been reading today in a scripture reading, somebody, which Andrew was always looking for with the children. You see him. Andrew find this little boy who had 5 breads and 2 fishes. My question is for you: how big do you think it was the bread? How big do you think it was the fishes? And before you answer to my answer, in our country sometimes we drink this kind of bread, which is kind of 10 kilogram each. This was a long time ago, and was doing in traditional oven outside and all of the stuff. Today we're doing probably this amount of bread. Brother Sami has shown me something like that. Yeah. Do you think?
The bread.
Yeah, the bread. To be like that.
Thin like this.
Okay. Yeah. Something.
Like
You
Turkish, like the Turkish.
Okay. You're coming. You're coming. It was like that. It was rounded. Yeah. It was a rounded one, flat one. Yeah. You approaching. It was kind of like a pita bread or Turkish bread, what we have it today. And imagine if you had 1 kilogram of bread for 5, it's 5 kilograms. A child cannot carry on 5 kilograms. I mean, it was something lighter for child as well. Yeah, it was. Always when I'm going to a Turkish shop, I like to buy this bread, but it's not round. It's a bit more like oval, and I'm buying that, and I'm eating before I'm reaching home. It's tasty. But I think it was something in between pita bread, which is very thin, and Turkish bread, because we don't know exactly, but it wasn't the bread what you go into a shop and buy it today. Yeah, you need to imagine in that time they didn't have this kind of things, right? And if you look into most of Middle East country, they're not using bread. They're not using bread. They're using pita bread. They're using paratha. They're using other things, which is just like a circle one. Only East Europe and Western country, they make these big breads and flatted one, whatever you see today in shops. But in the Middle East, where Jesus is coming from, it wasn't that type of bread. Okay, we find something about penny worth of bread. How big do you think it was, the fishes? This week I went to Howden's and to buy some flooring, and the seller from there, he's how's it called? He likes to go and fish. And I asked him, well, have you been to fish? I said, yeah. And he showed me a picture of a fish like that. Big, very big fish, I think about 10 kilograms. And I said, what are you doing with that fish? He said, oh, I'll just make a picture and not to throw it in the river or lake, whatever they do. He said, oh, in our country, we're not doing that thing. Do you think it was like that, what my friend has been showing me? Huh? Imagine a young lad to carry on 2 fishes like this. Huh? It's good because John said about small fishes. You show me quite big fish. What you show me? People done some researches and was kind of the size of a sardine. which is like that. Yeah. Why I'm trying to say to you about all of these sizes? How I can feed even 5,000 people? I'm not counting women. How I can feed 5,000 people with 2 fishes like this and 5 pita bread? Is possible, logical, without miracle of God. It's possible to do that thing.
For God is possible everything which is legal.
Yeah, for God. I said to you today, even if I have a full church today, if I'm bringing 5 breads and 2 fishes, do you think I can feed everyone? No. Okay. That means in front of them they had a big problem. How we can feed these people? Why I'm trying to bring all of this in kind of illustration, because these things always we're doing with our mind, always we're looking about the size of a problem, about the impossibility of a problem, and how we can get through or how we can try to avoid it. And after when we discover it's impossible, we just give it up. My next question is, did disciples give up or not? About the idea to feed 5,000 people with 5 breads and with 5 pita bread and 2 sardines. Did they give up? What do you think?
They did eventually give up.
Give up.
Give up, yeah.
Did multitude knew what is happening in this kind of board meeting? Because Jesus had kind of a board meeting with his disciples. Said, "Oh, look, treasure, send me your report, financial report. Clerk, note, and all of that stuff." It was kind of a board meeting over there, because everything has been recorded and today is showing to us. That means the board member said, "It's impossible. We just give up." I think the only who didn't kind of give up, it was Andrew, because he bring this lad. Come on, you said, "I found this young boy, and I don't know how you can come to Jesus with 5 breads and 2 fishes when you know it's impossible." But he came with that boy to Jesus, and with that 5 pita bread. Probably Andrew had a little bit of hope Jesus will do something. But all of them, they give up about the idea to feed these people. That means they solve a problem, they assess the problem, and they took all the options in consideration and said, it's impossible. It's impossible to pass through this situation. My question is, are we doing the same in our life? If we have a situation which we confronted, are we doing the same? Sometimes, or always we're doing. We give up. We give up. Because we don't want to come to Jesus. Because this is what we did. We come to Jesus with kind of solution. Yeah, 5 pita breads and 2 sardines. This was the solution what they had. They said, "Jesus, this is the problem. We have 5,000 people, but we have only this amount of food and this amount of money." With that money, they didn't utilize. I don't think they went and buy anything. They just utilized that 5 breads and 2 fishes. And this is why sometimes we're thinking, "Oh, Jesus doesn't want to deal with my problem. Or my problem is too big, or my problem is too small." You yourself, you create a different type of a problem before you go into your own problem. Yourself, you're trying to segregate yourself, and either to come to God and say, "Look, God, I have a problem here. Please help me now. Either it's a financial problem, either it's emotional problem, either it's a family problem, either even it's a school problem, whatever you are, a work problem, whatever problem you have is big, like 5,000, feeding 5,000 people. If you don't come to Jesus. But in this story, it's good that Jesus was over there. He identified the problem. He asked everyone to participate in it, and everyone else came. All right, let's continue read it from verse 10 to verse 13. Let's continue read it from verse 10 to verse 13.
And Jesus said, make the men sit down. Now there was much grass in the place. So the men sat down, in number about 5,000. And Jesus took the loaves, and when he had given thanks, he distributed it to the disciples, and the disciples to them that were sat down, and likewise of the fishes as much as they would. And when they were filled, he said unto his disciples, gather up those fragments that remain, that nothing be lost. Should I?
Yes, and verse 13.
14. Therefore, they gathered them together and filled 12 baskets with the fragments of the 5 barley loaves which remained over and above unto them that had eaten.
Thank you, sister. All right, now in what we was reading, we see Jesus give some instructions. Yeah, he give them instruction how to sit. Yeah. Before Jesus is trying to do a miracle, does he involve people in his miracles or not? Or he just doing like a musician and everything is coming? Does he involve people as well or not?
Yes.
Yes. Why? Why do you think Jesus is involving people to do something in that kind of act of miracle?
Involved after the miracle to hand out the bread. So the miracle, the God's power had been, that had been carried out first. But he did it in front of them because also to increase their faith, that they would believe, anything is possible with God.
Yeah.
But they didn't help in terms of that miracle being done, so that i.e. the power came direct from God.
Okay, yeah. But they're supposed to listen some instruction as well, because I said to you, these stories, you don't find it only in John, you find it in another one. And I would like you to read Mark chapter 6, verse 39 and 14, because he gives some instructions. Mark chapter 6, verse 39 and 40. Anyone ready? Okay? And he commanded them to make all sit down by companies upon the green grass. And they sat down in ranks, by hundreds, and by fifties. When Jesus is doing a miracle, this is why I said to you, he wants us to be involved as well. He gives you some instructions. This is what we need to do. Okay, I'm willing you to help you out in that situation, but you need to do as well. You need to be helping yourself as well. And sometimes we're praying to God, and God said to us, okay, if you want to do that, if you want me to do that, you need to do that thing. Many times, for example, people said, I want to give up about alcohol. And they praying, other people praying for them, but they never stop going and buying the alcohol. How do you think you can stop drinking alcohol if you still go in and buy alcohol? I know I heard about stories when people, but this is more happening in kind of Pentecostal churches or charisma churches where said if it was a smoker or a drinker and they put their hand and in that same day they didn't want to do it. Can be. But why can see Jesus always, even somebody who was blind, Jesus said to him, go and wash your eyes with water. Give some instructions, yeah? Always Jesus asked them to do something before or after the miracle. Why do you think he needed us in these miracles? When he created the world, he said to be light, and the light it was. To depart sky, the sea, and heaven. And this is what it was. To create star, moons, and everything. That it was. Done just by word. Why Jesus wanted us to be involved in his miracles? Because Jesus is doing the same thing today. He's doing miracles. Only I said to you from the very beginning, it's only ourselves who identify that problem and said, it's impossible. And we stop that. Why do you think Jesus, to perform a miracle in our lives, he needs us to do something?
Because if you want a miracle to be performed in your life, you have to want to be performed.
Yes. Yes. He cannot force you. Because you said with your mom, so this is why I said to you that I give you an example that people who wants to give up alcohol. You want it with your mouth, but if your heart is still there, until that thing doesn't disappear to your heart and into your mind, you cannot be healed. God can heal you out, but you need to do your step as well. In another section in the Bible, God said, Jesus said, if you're doing one step, I'll do 10 for you. It's only one step. Imagine you're doing one step, yeah, and Jesus is doing 10, which is much harder. Which is the greatest, 10 or 1? It's 10, no? But I think Jesus is doing 10 times more than what you're trying to do. In one example, but here Jesus done. I think even that meal probably was enough only for one man. Yeah, imagine he done it 10,000 times more than what they had it in this episode. What do you think in your life Jesus cannot do this? Why you put yourself in that kind of situation and said, no, Jesus, I want you to do the miracle, but do in my way. And this is what sometimes we're doing. We put God in a situation to do how we want it. But Jesus said, no. You need to sit down in your tribes, in your ranks, and waiting for me to perform a miracle. Okay, we see the multitude. Yeah, Jesus giving something for multitude as well. Because this lesson wasn't only for the multitude. This lesson was for the disciples as well. This lesson was for disciples as well. What it was the mission for disciple to do in performing this miracle? Hmm? Are you still with me today? Nice to see you, Sister Jennifer. God bless you. What was the involvement of a disciple here?
Well, I think that in this case, Jesus is probably trying to get the disciples ready to lead people because he knows what the mission is going to be, which is to get the message all around the world, and that's a big mission, big task. So I think he was trying to get them ready to command people, so to speak. I mean, even the use of military language there,
Yeah.
get them to sit in groups,
Yeah. Yes.
50 or 100.
Yes. Yes. Okay. The Bible said in verse 11, and Jesus took the loaves, and then he gave thanks. He distributed to the disciple, and disciple to them were set down. This is what it was the mission, to took from the Jesus and go and distribute it after to other people. I know from the very beginning we see lack of faith in the disciples. They didn't know. They said, let's send them home. Let's not deal it. But here in this situation, their faith has been put it again in challenge. Probably because they respected Jesus. Probably because they was seeing some miracles, but not this kind of thing before in the past. They said, let's try it. Let's give a try. And when they saw the miracles with their eyes, the faith has been growing more to them. This lesson wasn't only for multitude, it was for disciple mainly, because you'll see later on, Jesus asked them to gather the fragments. And it's strange because the number of baskets which has been gathered, it was exactly what the number was. Exactly?
2 and 5.
No, 12. Exactly 12. How many disciples was? 12. That means this lesson was for disciple mainly. Because Jesus always had admirators. Because in verse 14, we can see what was the reason, mainly the reason why they come to that meeting. He said, then those men, when they had seen the miracle that Jesus did, said, this is the truth, that the prophet that should come into the world. They said because they saw only miracles. And they didn't follow Jesus after that. It's only 12 who followed him after. We, as a disciple of Jesus, we have a mission. Not only sit down and waiting to be fed. We had a mission to take the basket from Jesus and give it to people. How are we doing that? How do you think we can do that? I know everyone said books. Yeah, books is a way. Yeah, books is a way. How we can feed for other people? Visitation, prayer. Yeah, books as well. Evangelisting, campaigns, all of the stuff. We need to continue to feed the people. And it's strange because Jesus said in verse 12, said, gather up a fragment that remains, that nothing can be lost. Why it was so important to gather that fragments? Because they could use it to feed other people as well. is I know we in this story is not only one particular subject where you can treat it. You can go in a lot of directions. But today my concentration is don't look only to the problem. Give your problem to Jesus. Doesn't matter how big it is your problem or small, give it to your Jesus. And you as a disciple who knows, who see the miracles in your life, go and share the bread. May God help us to be a true disciples and make us to be faithful and trustful to Jesus. Amen.